Welcome to another episode of Leadership Challenge Show with me, Reverend Felix Kavoi. Here at EBN TV, it is always our joy to talk about leadership, because if people are suffering, if families are suffering, if nations are suffering, if institutions and churches are suffering, they are suffering because of poor leadership. And having our rallying call at EBN TV that we transform our world, this show, Leadership Challenge Show, could not have come at a better time. Welcome, my dear viewer. Joining me today again to discuss issues that pertain to leadership and to chart a way forward on the challenges that we are facing in leadership is Pastor David Kamau, who is an expert in strategic management. Pastor David, thank you so much for joining me in this show.
Thank you, Reverend.
I always love talking to you.
Thank you.
The other time you really blew our minds. Some of the things that were coming out when we were talking,
Yes.
they were so deep. And I believe my dear viewer there is remembering some of the things we said in the last episode, especially the law of lead.
Correct.
You remember what you said about the law of lead?
That is true.
Where the leader is on number 5 in a scale of
1 to 10.
1 to 10. And because he's the man at the top and is gauging number 5, he wants to put every other person
Below.
under them below 5.
Correct.
And that one has brought a lot of problems in leadership in our country. And today, we will begin on the side of political leadership. Pastor David, I went to a function somewhere recently, and one of the noted leaders in this country, he had one of the bishops refer to the political leaders who are there. He referred to them as politicians. And when that important leader came on the microphone, he said many other things, but he was quick to tell Bishop at least to be lenient to the political leaders and to stop calling political leaders politicians. And this is where we begin the show today. Pastor David, do you believe we have people that are just merely politicians, but at the same time we also have political leaders? How do you look at it?
Thank you very much, Reverend, and welcome, viewers.
Yeah.
That is actually a question where many people always don't differentiate.
Yeah.
The politicians and
political leaders. Yes.
One, we have a leader. The other one is just a politician.
Yes.
And you'll find that politicians, people who are actually not leaders, they can be anything. They can actually be able to speak.
Yes.
Some of them, they can speak too loud. And therefore, you'll find that even the leaders may take these people to be part of their group.
Yes.
But necessarily, they don't have any skills of leadership.
Yeah.
And that's why when you call them political leaders, politicians, sometimes you miss out. Because some of them are qualified leaders.
They are qualified leaders.
They are able to lead, to influence, and to motivate people. These other people, they are not actually able to do that.
Yes.
What they will do is that they are going to use their muscles.
So essentially you are telling me politicians and political leaders are two different groups.
Very different.
How different are they?
They are different in the sense that
Yes.
we said last time that a leader is someone who influences, someone who inspires, and someone who motivates.
Wow.
And you find that some of the politicians,
Yes.
they are people who will not have those characteristics. So they cannot qualify to be leaders.
Yes.
They have even never understood even the art of leadership.
Wow.
So that's why you find that sometimes they are just in a place and they are just throwing stone. They are actually fighting.
They are stone throwers.
Yeah, stone throwers. They are
Yes.
even fighting for their leader. And they will do anything because they are not responsible. A leader is someone who is responsible even for the followers. He wants at least, because one of the things, and there is a law actually, in terms of leadership, which they lack. It's actually a law that we call the Law of Magnetism. The Law of Magnetism, it says that you attract who you are.
Oh, good.
Therefore, you'll find that if there are some people who are stone throwers,
Yes.
the politicians will just attract stone throwers.
Oh.
But the leaders, political leaders, are going to attract people who have skills and capacities.
And you see, you are saying something that is very powerful. Because sometimes we gauge, especially political leaders or politicians, for whichever matter applies to them, they gauge their success in their field by the bigness of the crowd that came to listen to them. But now, according to what you are saying, you are beginning to qualify the crowd that came to receive this leader. What kind of people are shouting his name and are clapping for him?
And that is exactly where the problem is.
Yeah.
Because depending on the politicians that you have
Yes.
in your cage, what will happen, you may actually even attract goons.
Yes.
People who are just good in
And there are
making
many
noise.
of them.
Yes, and making noise. And there are just many of them.
Yes.
Some of these people are not even voters. They are actually people who just speak. And they have loud voices. And they speak. And therefore, sometimes, even for a leader to gauge that by the crowd, that is actually now I'm becoming popular, sometimes it is not necessarily so. Because some of these people, they will actually come and say, if, for example, Reverend Kavoi is actually vying for an MP position, they will come to Reverend Kavoi's meetings, and they will come even to Pastor David's meeting. Because first of all, there is the motive they have. They want actually to get the best out of you, and they want to get the best out of me. So they will shout and they will show you it is like you have a lot of attraction. But at the end of the day, you may not even have that attraction because they are not loyal even to you. So if I am actually loaded at that particular time, they will even shout higher than even the meeting that you are.
You mean loaded with handouts?
Yeah,
and
that is
some
the
50s?
Thing. That is the thing.
Wow. My dear viewer, do not bulge, do not move that chair, do not touch that dial, because we are in a powerful, amazing discussion here today. Keep texting us. At the bottom of the screen, you will see the number for EBN Television. We want to hear your views, and we may sample some of the views that you have at the end of this show. Remember, what we are discovering is that amongst those who lead us in this country politically, there are those who are politicians. They have big mouths. They can make a lot of noise. They can gather goons and gangs around them, but they have no leadership to offer to the country and to the people. And yet, amongst those who are aspiring for leadership, there are political leaders, people that are resolute, and they know where they are taking their people and where they are taking the nation. Let's move on this discussion, Pastor David. Let us begin to inquire, interrogate the motivation of majority of people going into leadership. Do they have what it takes to lead? And the motivation behind the leader, do you think a leader can go into leadership with the bad motive and lead well? Please take it up.
Let me tell you also, again, in terms of what you have talked about, because it is a big challenge, that some of the leaders who are actually getting into positions, their motives are actually not to serve. Because if you are actually a leader, the first thing and the first qualification is that you must actually get to know that you are servant to the people. And if your motive is not to serve, it is a different motive. And these, some of the motives that people always have is, I want to be big, you know?
A big man.
A big man.
The big man syndrome.
Yes, I want people to feel me.
Yes.
I am now an honorable.
Wow.
The title itself.
So this big man syndrome maybe is the one that is leading many people to aspire leadership, especially on political field, especially when you have these big car and escort cars and chase cars.
Correct.
Yes.
Actually, those are some of the mistakes that you realize. It is not bad for you to have all those kind of people.
Yeah.
But you see, if, for example, you get into leadership, and this is your motive, what you realize is that you will not be able to serve your people well. The fact is, because you have already achieved, you went and you are given a car grant. Let's say if it is the MP, it is 7 million. You are given the car grant. So you are going to drive the big machine.
Yeah.
And then you are going to have some people who are actually keeping you safe. So you feel, and people are shouting everywhere, Muheshimiwa, Muheshimiwa. So these things, when they get into you, what will happen is that because you did not go to serve, you will forget the mission and the purpose as to why you went to parliament or any other leadership position. So many of the people are actually getting into titles, into their minds, into their heads, and they forget about service. So that's why you find some of the leaders, they were good, they were making noise, but when they go into actioning, there is really nothing much they can offer.
So these leaders who are going to leadership with wrong motives cannot deliver what they are promising the people.
They can't.
Because after all, they never went in for that. They keep on saying that garbage in, garbage out.
Correct.
So a leader who was not visionary and wanted to take people from a certain point to a certain point, they can never do that. And what are some of these things that are really a temptation and they become motivation for people who are aspiring leadership positions? What are some of these motivations? Maybe money, what? You can break it down for us.
Now, the motivation number one, as we said, is power.
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 Where you can drive on the wrong side of the road and nobody can ask you anything.
Correct. That is number one, which is quite big.
Yeah.
Number two is actually for recognition.
Yes.
For people to recognize who you are. In the sense that if you are called like today, if you are called Muheshimiwa in our country today, it is a big thing. And therefore many people will want, some of the people actually will go to be MPs, they have left their big businesses, but they want to be in
They are looking for power.
Yeah, they are looking for power, just to be recognized that I am that big man. So that is another thing that you'll find it taking there. There are some also who are actually going there because of money.
They are going there because of money.
Yeah, because the salary of an MP or even other leaders, it is not a small salary.
It's not a small
and
salary. And the allowances.
And the allowances
and the grants.
Correct.
It's a lot of money.
Then there is also some areas that you cannot access, but they can be able to access. So there are some opportunities they'll be able to take advantage of their position and be able to access them where any other person may not be able to access. If it is some few tenders, you find that there are some tenders, you'll get to know information about tenders earlier than anybody else.
Yes, yes.
And that's why you find some people are actually registering some companies, which actually is like a proxy. You are just hiding behind somebody else.
So some are going there actually to make money, to discover these tenders early, and maybe to put up a company, a proxy, which is their company, and tender and get that and push their way through to get the tender, maybe to make the road. Yeah, which other motivation do you think sends people to leadership?
The other motivations that will set people to leadership is actually in terms of the world that we are in is actually full of competition. And people want to be known that I am actually, you know, you hear this person is doing well. And they want at least to be competing. When they are going for functions, you find that an MP or any other leader will always be noticed. So they want at least to get that feeling. At least when I go to a function, everybody will turn. This is actually that recognition. At least you will not only be called, even me I will be called, because I have a title. So that kind of a competition, everybody is trying to prove to the other one, I am also there. And that kind of a thing will make anybody to aspire. Because even you find in the churches, right now, there is a debate about the political leaders and the churches. You find that one of the things that is actually a very big challenge right now is how the men of God are going to make the leaders not to come to the pulpit. But you find that every other time you find a politician or a political leader in your gathering, you will actually call him to say hello to people.
Even when he does not want to speak.
Even when he doesn't want to speak because of his title. But you have so many other distinguished members
who are in the
church, but they will not be invited to speak. So at least they will also be put in a better place. Even in the church, there are places that are actually not meant for any other person. But when a political leader comes, you will actually make sure even you transfer some few people so that the political leader will have at least a good place to sit.
So, Pastor David, in short, you are telling us that we have leaders that went into leadership for the wrong reasons.
Definitely.
If you are trying to put them in percentages, like in our nation, Kenya, if you compare the two groups of people, what do you think are the percentages?
This is my personal views in terms of how I have been checking on these issues. But for me, letting most of the leaders, I would actually say that the good leaders are like 40%. 40%. 60% are leaders who are actually there for the long motives.
And this one may be translating in all other forms of leadership. At the home, at the church, at the circle, and every other level of leadership.
It is all the levels. It is not necessarily just the political. And actually you realize when you look at it, you'll find that we are way below.
Wow. It is no wonder our nation is bleeding. It's no wonder churches are breaking. It's no wonder circles are collapsing. It's no wonder institutions have just stalled. Their operations are stalled because of bad leadership. We are taking a short break. When we return, we will talk more on the motivation into leadership. Don't go very far. Welcome back to the Leadership Challenge Show here on EBN TV, talking about leadership and the challenges we are facing when it comes to leadership. Mind-blowing to know that some people have the wrong motivation to go into leadership. It's no wonder they can never deliver. No matter how long they stay in those offices, they have nothing to offer to the people. We want to get deep into this. And now, with me here in studio is again Pastor David, helping us to understand some of these things in leadership. And we have seen that some leaders have found themselves in leadership for the wrong reasons. They went there to make money. They went there to do business with the government. They went there to look for opportunities to build themselves. Their stomachs actually have taken them into leadership and not to help the poor masses of people. May God help us. Now, they have come into leadership. They are in the offices. They are occupying positions. What are some of the bad manners? Because we cannot deny it. We know there are leaders that are misbehaving. They are not doing the right thing. They are not uttering the right things. They are not doing the right things for their people. And they are already in leadership. Another time we were talking here, you mentioned about the 5 levels of leadership. Can you run us quickly and describe to us one of the leadership level that has brought hell to this nation?
Thank you very much, Reverend. And before I get even to the level, there is something that I want to say so that I get into the level.
You're welcome.
That a good leader will first touch the heart of the followers before he asks for their heart. Before he asks for
Say that again.
A good leader will touch the heart of the followers.
The heart?
Yes, the heart of the followers. Before he asks for a heart from them.
before he asks for a hand from them.
You
That
know,
is help,
yes.
assistance from the people.
Yes, from the
beautiful,
people.
beautiful.
So
Yeah.
it is the fact that you realize that people are supreme.
Yes.
And people are the most important thing.
Yeah.
If you connect with them through your heart, you will find that at the end of the day, it becomes very easy for you to lead the people.
Yeah.
And that's where I want to go to some of the challenges that the leaders are facing as we handle the levels of leadership.
So indeed, you are saying that as leaders are seeking for leadership positions,
Yes.
some of them do not touch the hearts of people.
They don't.
So they will do manipulations
Correct.
to get elected.
Exactly where we'll go.
Yes.
To the leadership level number 1.
Yes.
The leadership level number 1 is what we call positional or position.
Positional leadership.
And this is actually a level that any leader should not aspire to stay for a very long time.
Yeah.
When we go and we vote in a leader from whichever area, it may be church,
Yes.
it may be government, it may be any, even in organizations.
Yes.
That first level is actually invitation to lead. It is not that you are a leader. People are trusting that you can be able to lead them to a different and a good direction.
Yes.
But you see what happens, and that is the problem we are having with people today, the leaders today,
Yeah.
is that they settle at level number 1, and that level number 1 for position is actually where you use your authority and power.
So now you are in the
manipulate.
characteristics of positional leadership.
Yes, positional
Wow.
leadership.
Take it up.
So what they will do
Yes.
is that they will actually want to make, you don't have a choice. Even as you, the person who voted you in,
Yeah.
they have no choice. They have to follow exactly what you tell them.
Yeah.
Why? It is because you are now
You are now the man.
the man.
Yes.
And therefore, there are some few things that you will tell them, whether you want it or you don't want it,
It's
you
going to
will
be
do
like
it.
that.
It is going to be like that.
Oh.
And that is the position whereby we are saying, if you are a leader who did not touch the heart of people, you did not go into leadership because you loved people.
Yes.
What will happen when you get into that level of leadership, you will tell them, either you toe the line or you are out.
You ship out.
That is the thing. And that is the language that you fight.
So, Pastor David, many leaders are just there positionally.
Yeah, that is actually, and it is quite an unfortunate position.
Yes.
Because that's why, for example, you find that even in terms of development, those leaders cannot actually be able to develop. Because you see, the people that you are leading, after some few years, they feel that they are not happy about your leadership styles.
Yeah.
And they start regretting. And I have had quite a number of people actually even saying, I made a very serious mistake
Yeah.
for me to have voted in this leader. Initially, they did not know about the leader.
Yeah.
But when the leader actually got into the position,
He came full colors.
full colors, and
Yeah.
they did not even develop themselves beyond that position.
Okay.
And that is actually the main danger. And as we said, that position is only an invitation to lead. It is not necessarily that you are a leader. And it is actually when you are leading, when we are able to tell this is a good leader or this is not a good leader. And because of the intentions and why they went there,
Yeah.
what you find most of the times is that if the intention was not right, then they will say, I will do what I have to do. In fact, I actually spent a lot of my money. It is my time for me now to recoup back the monies.
Yeah.
And that's why you are finding even you are having some issues. Let's say, for example, as the member of parliament, you are hearing there are some issues to do with CDF. And you are wondering what is the problem.
Yeah.
It is because when they were down there, they used the power of money to take themselves into leadership.
And so they achieved positions.
Yes.
So they want now to use the positions
Correct.
to advance themselves.
Correct.
What are some of the characteristics of positional leadership? Because I have had people try to affirm to the people, this is who I am. If indeed you are who you are, should you really tell people who you are?
If you tell us, if for example, you are in leadership and you start telling us you are this person,
Yes.
it tells
Like if
us,
you are the father
If you are
or
the
you
father,
are the
yes.
father of the house, and you are telling people, you will know that I'm the father of this house,
Then it tells us
there's a problem.
there is a problem.
Yeah.
Because fathers, they really don't need even to say they are fathers.
Yes.
They are actually supposed to be felt.
If you are the authority of the home,
Yes.
you don't need to tell anybody you are the authority.
No, they know you are the head of the family.
Yes. Don't you think that I'm seeing a lot of this even in the leadership of our country?
Right now, there is a lot of that.
Yeah.
To the sense that many people want to affirm their positions.
Yes.
We already know. If, for example, you are the president of the country, all of us, we need to feel that you are the president. You don't really
And you
have
don't
to
need
tell
to tell us.
You don't
because
really
we know.
need to tell us, yes.
Oh, beautiful.
You see, when you start telling us that we must recognize you are the president, then there is a problem.
Oh.
The question is, why is it that people are not recognizing you are the president of the country?
Or the governor.
Or the governor.
Or the
MCA.
secretary. Or the MCA.
Or even, let's even go to the church circles.
If you are the senior pastor,
even the senior pastor, you don't
telling
have to
people
affirm.
that you are the senior pastor, then there is a problem
There
already.
is a problem.
Yeah.
If, for example, you are connecting with the people, and that is again where we say, the touching the hearts of men. If you are connecting with people, they should automatically be able to allow you to lead them. And that is the level number 2 of leadership,
Yeah.
which we call the level of permission.
Or permission
Yes, the
level
people,
of leadership.
Yes, the people allow you to lead them.
Yes.
Why? Because they have actually interacted with you and they know you.
And they
know
feel
that
you can take them there.
Correct.
Yes.
So when you are not taking people where you are supposed to take them, what will happen is that you will keep on trying to affirm all the time.
Yes.
You will know who I am.
You are not at the permission level of leadership.
You are not at the permission
People
level.
have not allowed you to lead them.
Correct.
So you must come holding them by the collar and
Correct.
dragging them and telling them, you'll know who I am.
That is the thing.
You know who I am.
That is
and
the
we have a lot of that leadership in this country.
It is.
And all over the world, indeed.
It is rampant.
Yes.
And it is actually a very bad thing. And actually, the positional leadership is not a place for you to stay for a very long time.
You can begin there.
You can begin there.
But you should move quickly to another level of leadership.
Yeah, you should go to the acceptance, where is actually the level number 2 of permission, where people are saying, I am happy when Reverend Felix Kavoi
and
is
we allow
leading
you
us.
to show us the way.
And we allow you. And when you speak, we will follow you because we have actually
so
allowed
at positional leadership, people are not following you.
No, no, no.
And you remember what John Maxwell said, that if you say you are a leader and people are not following you, you are not leading.
Correct.
You are taking a walk.
That is true.
Amazing. And I think that is where many leaders are finding themselves.
Correct.
And also I tend to think the conflicts, the quarrels, the noises we are hearing is because of leaders who refused
Yes.
to transition into another level of leadership.
Correct.
They are still holding positional leadership.
Yes.
And they are beating everybody into submission.
Yes, yes.
Because they want to be felt.
Correct.
And because now, almost I think everywhere, leaders are fighting. In our country, leaders are fighting, throwing words at one another, saying things in political rallies. So this is what positional leadership has done to us.
That is exactly. And let me tell you, unless our leaders rise above the positional leadership, there is going to be a lot of issues and challenges. Because the first thing, you must gain acceptance.
By the people you lead.
By the people that you lead. In a moment that you don't gain that acceptance, you will try to speak and even to force people to do things, yet they will not do.
So goals are not going to be achieved.
They are not going to be achieved.
Yes.
And that takes us actually to level number 3.
Yeah.
Which is the level we call the level of production.
Or the production
The
level.
production level.
Where goals are achieved now.
Correct.
Yes.
If you are still struggling at positional level,
Yes.
you will keep on now trying to justify what you have done for the people.
Yes.
Because people are not seeing.
People are not seeing.
They are not seeing.
You have to tell them what you have done for them.
You have to tell them exactly what you've done.
And I think I'm seeing a lot of that today.
It
Especially now that in our country we are talking about 2022 so much.
Correct. Let me give you a very good example, Everett.
Yes.
There is one president, and allow me to mention his name.
Please say him if he's our president.
The former president, Mwai Kibaki.
Mwai Kibaki.
This is
Wow.
a man
Yes.
that everybody talks about him in terms of the way he changed the economy of Kenya.
And he never made a lot of noise.
He never made a
He
lot
was
of
quiet
noise.
most of the time.
He was quiet, and he was focused, and he knew the promises
In
he had
fact, I
given to the
remember
people.
during the time of his leadership,
Yes.
there's a time I think the newspapers were asking, where is Mwai Kibaki?
Correct.
Yes.
He was at work.
Oh,
He was actually at the work at level number 3, producing.
producing.
And that is where the results starts being seen.
And now we can see.
It is the first time that we
Thika
started
road.
talking about the highway.
Yes.
People even were actually wondering, how will we be driving along the Thika road?
And the man was not making a lot of noise.
Correct.
Why? Production level of
Correct. Of leadership.
So are there other characteristics of production level of leadership?
Yes, the production level of leadership
Yes.
is actually whereby everybody will actually want to be associated with you.
Oh, because you are producing.
Correct.
Yes.
Because actually you are changing. And you see that production, what it means. Production is an addition.
Yeah.
The other places you saw, like the positional leader,
Yeah.
is actually deduction.
Is deduction.
Because people are feeling that
And
we
you're
don't
using a lot of money
yes.
to make people recognize
Correct.
you. And you know, there's one governor in this country, and I think it's worth mentioning here, the governor of Makueni, who does not appear to move a lot with a lot of clothes.
Correct.
No many vehicles running after him. And I think I have loved his style of leadership.
And that is the characteristic. What you are saying,
Yeah.
even many people, and we said there is an attraction, the law of magnetism.
Oh.
You have found that many people are even coming from even different countries to come to that county to see exactly what this man is doing.
Wow. Wow.
That is when we get to the production level.
Production. And that is level number 3.
Number 3.
And there are still 2 other
There are two
levels of
more.
leadership.
Yes, there are 2
Wow.
more.
Okay, keep
and
going.
that production level, you find that the country now, or even, not even the country, even homes,
Yeah.
the production. And because when we talk about leadership, we are not narrowing it down
Yeah.
to the political leadership. We are talking about the leadership in every area, in organizations. That production, what it now does, it is you start seeing positive things happening.
Yeah.
If you go like to that county, Makueni,
Yeah.
you find there is a lot that is happening. And
Yeah, I
even
hear
yes-
there's a mango factory.
Correct.
Yeah.
So look at such kind of things.
Yes, big achievements.
You ask yourself a question. Where were these things? It is because there is a man who
Wow.
is at the production level. He is developing something.
What do you think would happen to our nation if majority of leaders would come to the production level?
Can I tell you,
Yeah.
Reverend, this country, especially the country of Kenya,
Yeah.
it is the hub. Hub in terms of, if you look at the port at Mombasa,
Yes.
and many other things
We are
that
well
is happening,
positioned.
we are well positioned.
Yes.
This is a country, some of the countries are landlocked.
Yes.
They cannot actually be able to transact. Actually, if they want to transact,
Yes,
they will
yes.
transact through Kenya. So Kenya is strategically positioned to be able to have a thrust in the economy, in terms of many other things. You see, it is agricultural country.
And the people are very hardworking.
Very hardworking.
Yes.
And even our lads are very productive. So if we can get into the production level, what you'll find is that Kenya is actually going to be up there, being counted among the giants because of the resources that are in this country.
Wow.
And that's why we really need to get into the production level.
Yeah.
Because if we get to production
Even
level,
at church leadership
yes.
and institution leadership.
Correct.
Okay, beautiful. When we return, we shall talk about the 2 other levels of leadership, and then we shall see some of the things that have happened to our leaders once they got into office. Keep texting to us. There's a number at the bottom of the screen, and tell us your views about what we are discussing today. We shall sample some of the comments that you've made, and don't go very far. We are returning right back. Welcome back to this amazing discussion on leadership here on EBN, doing the Leadership Challenge Show with me, Reverend Felix Kavoi. And with us in studio is Pastor David Kamau, who is a strategic management expert. We continue to talk about levels of leadership. Now, we have received a lot of information, and as Kenyans, we are now understanding why some leaders are behaving the way they are behaving. Many of them came into positions of leadership and they started to do everything at positional level of leadership. It is no wonder they are fighting everybody, they are colliding with everybody, they are refusing to listen to advice because they want to prove that they are the big people. They are the person to consult. They are trying to affirm their positions. It is no wonder we have a lot of problems when it comes to leadership. And I pray that all leaders that are joining us in this leadership show, you will begin to look at your leadership style and begin to change where necessary, because people out there are waiting for good leadership. So, Pastor David, we left it at the place where now we are talking about production. And we said we need to help our leaders to move on, to grow from positional leadership to the production level of leadership. Say something before you take us to the next level of leadership.
The production level is actually the level that can make every sector, every segment, as we have said, it is homes, it is the country, it is the churches, to be able to be self-sufficient. Because there is an addition. People are not just comfortable with the status quo. They want to add something. And that's what we are fighting in some of, like, if we talk about the political leadership, that's where we are fighting. Some of the counties are doing very well. Because we are endowed with resources that if we get into full production, that we would be able to fight people moving in terms of GDP, in terms of their economic status. It can improve very fast. And therefore, that's why it is very important for our leaders to be conscious about the production. Because there are avenues, there are opportunities everywhere. And they need to make sure some of the promises, like now, there has been an issue. In fact, I would say, like, when the Jubilee government started, they started with a big
By the way, there's a lot of talk about Jubilee government. And you are saying something about Jubilee government.
Like the Jubilee government, they gave at least their commitment.
What they wanted to deliver to the people.
Correct. It is actually production.
That
is the big four.
The big four agenda.
It is actually the production. And you find that, the leaders right now are fighting.
About it.
And
others are giving excuses why they could not be.
Correct.
And somebody is pushing them and asking them, where are the big four?
Correct. And that's why I'm telling you, if, for example, we can put what is in the paper into motion, we start implementing what we have talked about, and we don't allow distraction, because the worst enemy to production is distractions. If we allow distractions to come in, you'll find that even where we are supposed to produce, we are unable to produce.
Someone said that in Kenya we are very good planners, but very poor implementers.
That's the thing. And that is exactly where you are finding a problem, because I know in terms of what, like now the Jubilee government, let me give an example, because they have an elaborate agenda.
And there's still a lot of time for them to turn around the tables. They can correct where they are going wrong. Because we are 1 year, 7 months away from next general election.
They can still now.
So they still can do a lot.
And that's why I would pray for our government. Let's avoid a lot of just empty talks. And I think
Yes.
that's why the president has actually been saying it is not the time for politicking.
Yeah.
It is actually time for production.
Yes.
And many leaders, because they are still at the positional level,
Yeah.
they are not seeing exactly when he talks about.
They are not
politicking.
seeing about production now.
Yes.
They are seeing what they can become.
Correct.
In 2022.
That's a
Very
risk we have.
pathetic.
And
Yeah.
that's why you are finding that people are still poor in this country. But
And
they
the
are not
suffering.
supposed to be they are
The
not supposed to be
suffering.
poor.
The suffering is too much.
Look at some people. Some
Yeah.
people are actually producing down there, but there are no roads to
Yeah.
be able to take their produce to a place where they can be able to distribute their produce.
Yeah.
And they make a successful and a good living.
Mm.
So you see, those are the problem. When our leaders don't get into such levels of production, you find the country is struggling.
Do you know, we may think like we have made a lot of progress in our country, but do you know any public hospital you visit today, they will not give you drugs. They will prescribe so that you go and buy from the chemist.
That's
And yet, every year, there is an allocation for healthcare.
correct.
So what is happening? There's no production.
That's the thing. That is why we are saying, when you lack the production, you will now get to a position of trying to affirm to the people.
Yes.
Because if you are producing, people will be able to feel the production. You don't really have to say anything. And that's why we said, for example, the Thika Road.
Yes.
You don't really need to be told about Thika Road.
And Kibaki never talked about it.
No, he never talked about
He
it.
never talked about it.
You see, if, for example, it is like SGR, the SGR, it is a production.
It's a production.
When people are actually now going to Mombasa in 4 hours, it is actually something.
That's
you
a
do not
positive.
Yeah, it is something positive. You
It's
don't really
it's an
need to be told.
achievement,
Yeah, you
yes.
don't really need to be told about
You don't
it.
need to be told we have done SGR.
You can
People
be-
are using it.
And actually, that takes us to another law.
Yes.
Reverend. There is a
Yes.
very good law in terms of what we are talking about seeing. There is a law that we call the law of picture.
The law of picture.
Picture, yes.
Yes.
The law of picture,
Yes.
it is one of the strongest
And I
law.
think, Pastor, you know a lot of laws.
You know, I have to look at that because I am
Wow.
in this country and I
Yes.
feel good when I see some areas where we
Yes.
can improve.
We can improve.
So you see, the law of picture, it tells us that you don't really need to speak too much.
Oh.
We need to see. You see the pictures. What you do
Yes.
is that you see a picture and you are able to say so many things about the picture.
Yes.
Most of the people, even when you draw a picture, they can actually explain. Like now, if it is a region and you draw a picture or you take a picture of that region, people can look at it and they give you a whole story about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And what we are saying is, the law of the picture says, if, for example, there is production, people will actually be able to see the production moving forward. And therefore, you will not even have a hard time for you to keep on even saying that, look, we have done 1, 2, 3, 4. Because people can be able to see. It is the sight. They see. And when they see, it gets into them and they can
All
tell
right.
you there is
All right.
production.
Maybe very quickly, because we also wanted to touch on some of the bad practices we are seeing in some leadership quarters. Maybe you can rush us quickly in the next remaining 2 levels of leadership, and then we look at the leaders that are in office right now. Because many political leaders and the politicians are waiting to come and tell us what they will do for us in the year 2022 while we are here and they are here and they are in office and they can bring it to us today. So why should they promise it in the year 2022? So please rush us quickly, because there are people in office and we want to see some of the bad practices that are there.
I like that discussion, and I like exactly what you're talking about now.
Yes.
Because it takes us straight away to the leadership rule,
Yes.
number 4. And this one, the level number 4.
Level number 4.
It is actually the level that we talk about people development.
People development level of leadership.
Of leadership.
Amazing.
Let me tell you, this is a leader who is so confident about himself. He is not really challenged about, I will train you and you become better than me. He knows that his synergy is in numbers, in people. might.
Yes, yes.
So he will use the best brains. He will use the best skilled people to be able to develop them to a level that they are also able to produce themselves. And now, the bad things that happens in our country is that most of the political leaders especially
do not want to
they
develop
don't want
the
to
people.
develop people. They don't want to develop communities.
Yeah.
They want them to be singing the same song from January to December.
Let me tell you something, Pastor David. And this is a practical example. In the place where I come from, and I'm not saying where I come from, so there's not much speculation about it, but in the place where I come from, when I opened my eyes as a young boy growing up, I found political leaders saying that in 1974 and 1975,
Quite some time back.
they were promising that when you elect me, I will put tarmac on a certain road that is from a certain place to a certain place.
Yes.
Believe you me today, that road up to today has never been tarmacked.
Correct.
It has never been tarmacked. And even the leaders have come and gone from 1975 to 2021.
Yes.
That road has not been tarmacked. And they are still promising they will tarmac it. Now you see what you are talking about. People development.
Yes.
It's like leaders refusing to deliver the services they are supposed to deliver.
Correct. Yes.
So that they have an agenda to campaign with
Correct.
in the coming general elections.
That is the thing.
Please.
And you see, that's why, for example, you find some of our people, during the time that you are looking for votes, you go with handouts.
Yeah.
And that is actually a behavior that really need to stop in this country.
And I think, Pastor David, you need to, because you mentioned the one handout, I think it is very evil and wicked
It is.
to convince people to elect you by something you give them.
And that is exactly what we said. You are asking for their heart before you touch their heart.
Oh.
If you touch their heart, and I can give you an example. There is a young man who is actually in the parliament now. He is a Mheshimiwa. This man is actually one of the gentlemen I like watching all the time. The man from Meru.
Oh, the young,
The young man,
MP.
the young MP. He did not use the handout to be able to get to leadership.
Yes.
What he did, he touched the heart of men and women.
And they elected him.
And they elected
And
him.
he had nothing.
He had nothing.
His first car was given to him, and it was all over in the news.
Correct.
Yes.
And that is where we are saying this is the kind of leadership that we want. Whereby this gentleman, when he goes there, what he will do, he will not shy away from developing people. Because in the first place, they developed him to be in that position. Not because of how much money he had, but it is because they loved him. And I think it has to get to a point. If a leader has to develop, they must get to a point of loving people. They will not just give them handouts for a day. It is like the way we are told. If you want to teach me something.
And I think it's good to talk to the viewers here. Are you hearing what Pastor David is saying? Leaders who give you handouts do not love you. They don't care about you. They care about your support to them, but not actually you becoming better. Keep coming.
The other issue, what they do, and this is a long behavior also, as we were to talk also about some of the things that
some
they
of
do.
these bad practices, yes.
You find that they already know that if, for example, we up your life,
yes,
we make you to develop, there are some discussions that you are not going to entertain.
Yeah.
When someone comes with the wrong policies, you will tell them, I will vote for you because of your policies, because of what you can be able to deliver, because you have empowered the people.
Yeah.
And you know what? The good thing about the people development is something that we call the law of multiplication. If you want to see multiplications, the other one was addition. When you train people and develop people, we get to multiplication, the multiplier effect.
Pastor David, do you think many leaders in Kenya want their people developed?
No, they don't want.
Do they want the young people to have more degrees and all that? Do leaders really want to be challenged at the position they occupy?
No, they will not. And that's why you gave a very good example.
Yeah.
That in 1974,
Yeah.
leaders kept on promising. Even up to today,
They are still
they
promising.
are still promising.
Yeah.
And you know why they are doing that? Is because if you become a little bit clever
Yes.
and more advanced in terms of your reasoning and equipping you, what will happen is that you will discover their lies. Because some of them, they thrive on lies.
Yeah.
They come with things, and I was very amazed. Another day, just some few days ago,
Yeah.
and one of the political leader, he said, go and promise them whatever you want to promise them, even the things you know you will never do. So that they are going to feel that this is the man we need to elect.
Yeah.
Because he is telling us he'll do this. Once they get into power, they do not want to develop. So that they will actually come to you and give you small things. And that particular time, because you need a meal for the day, you will actually now sing their song.
So actually these leaders who are fighting people that are upcoming, and you know, some of them, I have seen leaders that behave like witches and wizards. They know there is somebody from their constituency who is well to rise to power, or maybe get a tender from somewhere. And these people in leadership are the ones who are going to tell those people not to allow this young man to enter into that position.
Correct.
So you see, these are leaders that have not reached the people development level of leadership.
Yes,
what is the final one?
The final one is actually one all the leaders must aspire to be there. Very few leaders in the world are actually at that particular level.
Yes.
It is called pinnacle.
Pinnacle.
Pinnacle level of leadership.
Yes.
It is the top.
It is the top.
It is whereby you are actually even finding that I am ready to go.
Yeah.
You see, like most of the African leaders,
yes,
they want to cling to power.
Yes.
At all cost.
Yeah.
And you find that even some will try even to change their constitution so that they remain in power.
Remain in power.
They remain in power.
Yes.
But when you get to the pinnacle level of leadership, you actually want other people to move forward.
To move forward.
You can now be an advisor. You are telling them that this is exactly what happened. You see, for example, look at Obama.
Yes.
Right now,
is it also the same one called personhood?
Yes.
Yeah, personhood level of leadership.
Correct.
Yes, yes.
So when you get to that level, you want actually even to see people do it.
Yeah.
And you are proud and you are saying, I am happy. And you pat them at the back and you tell them, here, yes, you are doing the right thing. You are actually like coming in and advising them.
And people listen to you because of who you are.
Yes,
because of who you are.
Yes.
You are bigger than life.
That is true.
You're bigger than life.
So that is the level whereby everybody must aspire. This issue of clinging to power at all costs,
until you die,
it is not necessary. You need...
It is wickedness.
Yes, you need to get to know, I have developed able men, able women, able young men, who can be able to move the agenda of any level of leadership, any segment of leadership forward. And this one we are saying, if it is home, get some times to release some few things. Don't keep on, clinging to every other
Learn
thing.
how to delegate.
It is called micromanagement.
Yeah.
You are actually managing every small details.
Yeah.
There is a point where it gets you
release.
And you trust your people that they are going to deliver.
Yeah.
And it is such a joy because even when you are aging, you find that the team that you developed are able to multiply and make your legacy even to be better forever.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. And this show always leaves us wanting to hear more. Listen to that. Pastor David, you are very amazing.
Thank you.
Person.
Thank you, Reverend.
God has lifted you for a reason.
Thank you.
So that you can speak to people that are in leadership. And I can promise you, my dear viewer, we will come back here with Pastor David, who is a strategic management expert. And we will continue to talk about the leadership of this country, the leadership of our churches, the leadership of our institutions, the leadership even at home. And we will ensure this world is transformed, because EBN is about transforming your world. When we return, we will begin to explore some of the bad manners that leaders develop simply because they hold positions and they are in office. And we want to begin to have the ability to detect when leaders begin to behave badly. And we'll be able to tell them, man, you started well, now you are not building anything, you are just messing up. And leadership is responsibility. If you don't want to take responsibility, if you don't want to be a responsible person, you have no business being a leader. You have to put on high level of responsibility so that you take it upon yourself to ensure things are done. You cannot be a leader who passes the buck to other people and you complain all the time why bad things are happening, and you are still the leader who is supposed to show people the way, and you are complaining that bad things are happening and you can do nothing about it. That is not responsibility. In the first place, you should not have occupied the position that you occupy. Well, we have to end it there. My name is Reverend Felix Kavoi, and with me in studio was Pastor David Kamau Wamathu. And until next time, stay blessed and make sure you don't miss the Leadership Challenge show. God bless you and give you peace.